Go ahead.
Hi, boys and girls.
Hi, boys and girls. Tonight's story is not just any story.
Hi, boys and girls.
Tonight's story is called The Best Story. And The Best Story is written by Eileen Spinelli. And the reason Evelyn and I chose this story for you tonight is I know that you've been assigned to write about your day and write about things that are going on and to post them to Google Classroom for your teachers. And sometimes it's tough getting some ideas. So we're going to learn through this author how you can write the best story. Author. You ready, Evelyn?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yay.
Kitty.
Who's hiding?
Little kitty hiding under the notebook. Let's see how we can best. The Red Brick Library was having a contest. Write the best story. Win first.
Hi, boys and girls.
Are you going to let Mommy read tonight?
Cuckoo.
Hmm?
No, I need a tissue.
You do need a tissue. Okay. What's that down? Okay. I'll be back. Hi again. We are going to try this again. And I'm using a little bit more of a whisper voice because Evelyn is now in bed. So she misses tonight's story with us. So once again, this is The Best Story by Eileen Spinelli. The Red Brick Library was having a contest. Write the best story, win first prize. First prize was a ride on the Super Duper Looper roller coaster with my favorite author, Anne Miles, who wrote The Runaway Roller Coaster. Wow! First prizes don't get any better than that. I ran home, went to my room, shut the door. I sharpened 5 pencils, opened my notebook to a brand new page, and thought, and thought, and thought. And all I could think was this writing stuff was hard and lonely. Maybe I needed help. I told my brother Tim about the contest. The best stories, said my brother Tim, have lots of action. So I wrote a lot of action into my story. I wrote about a bus hurtling down the highway with no one at the wheel. I added a tornado and a pirate and a great white shark, but the story didn't seem quite right. So I asked my dad, and he said, the best stories have plenty of humor. So I changed the great white shark to a monkey, and I put the monkey at the wheel of the bus. And I turned the tornado into turnips. And I dressed the pirate in polka-dotted pajamas. Dad laughed so hard he popped a shirt button. Even so, the story didn't feel quite right either. Along came Aunt Jane. What are you doing? She asked. I'm writing a story, the best story, for a contest at the library. I can win a roller coaster ride with my favorite author. Oh, well then, said Aunt Jane. Here's all you need to know. The best stories are the ones that make people cry. So I gave the bus a flat tire. I sent the monkey to the funeral of his pet goldfish. I turned the turnips into onions. Wonder why onions? and I made the pirate chop every one. There were lots of tears, but the story still wasn't right. My teenage cousin Annika said, I have news for you. If it's not romantic, it's a loser. So the pirate introduced the monkey to his sister Grace, and they fell in love. And I turned the onions into wedding invitations, and everyone lived happily ever after. Finally, my story was ready, so I read it to my family. Not enough action, said my brother Tim. Maybe the monkey can fall into the wedding cake, said Dad. That would be really funny. It's hard to cry at a wedding when the groom is a monkey, said Aunt Jane. Annika said it would be perfect if I added a kiss. In all this time, my mother hadn't said a word. So I asked her, what do you think is the best story? She gave me a hug. I think the best story is the one that comes from the heart, your own heart. That night, after supper, I looked into my own heart and rewrote my story. No more monkey, no more pirate, no more wedding invitations, no more happily ever after. My new best story is about my family and my two best friends, Tara and Josh. It's about my cat Ollie, who sleeps on his back, and snow days, and toast with strawberry jam. It's about fireworks and rainbows and bike rides. My biggest problem was keeping the story short. Once I started pulling things out of my heart, it was hard to stop. When my story was finished, I turned it in to the judges. Maybe I'll win that roller coaster ride with Ann Miles, and maybe I won't. Either way, I'll be happy. I'll be a winner, because the story I wrote is my own, not somebody else's, and that makes it the best. So boys and girls, I'd love to hear what your best story is. So one of the things you could do is you could take a big piece of paper and make a giant heart. And on the inside of that heart, why don't you start to jot down just some things that are special to you. You could jot down some family members, some pets, some favorite places you've traveled to, some places you want to travel to, some of your best friends, maybe some important teachers in your life. There's lots of things, favorite foods, favorite funny memories, some sad memories that have happened to you. And you can just put those ideas inside the heart. Okay, you wouldn't be writing a whole story there. You would just put those different, it's like a list, putting it inside the big heart. And maybe there's something then that you want to turn into a story. Maybe there's just one idea you want to take and write a story about it. Or maybe there's a couple things in there that you could write about. So the most important thing though is that that story comes from your heart, okay? It's not a good thing to have somebody else tell you what you should write about, because then sometimes it doesn't feel like your own and you might not like it as much as if it were your own ideas, okay? Have a good night, boys and girls, and I'll see you tomorrow.